trip.
The Lakers are back home after a perfect road trip, and that means Mike Trudell is out of the cave in the green room and back at Staples Center, right where you belong. Mike, hello.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Nice to see you in the studio, and welcome to Staples Center. It is good to be back in the building, although, of course, I feel like I'll say this every game. Not the same without the fans. Hopefully, at some point, that will change. In the meantime, another thing that's super unique about this season, how about the third time the Lakers have faced the Spurs in the last 9 days? I asked Frank Vogel a couple moments ago, Allie, just what that dynamic means and how they approach a contest like that.
Well, they showed us how good they are. You know, this is a really good basketball team that, is not happy about not making the playoffs last year. They played us really well in both of those games, even though we were able to prevail down the stretch. Aldridge obviously gives them an all-star level player that they didn't have in those two games. And, we saw what they're capable of with what they did against the Clippers 2 nights ago. You know, having a 14-point lead with 4 minutes to play and closing those guys out. So we're going to have to play a great game to beat them for sure.
And Frank, wanted to double check if everybody else is available, and then also just what does it do for you getting Caruso back into the rotation, and what did you miss when you didn't play?
Yep, everybody else is available, and you guys all know what Alex brings to the table. It's just great energy. Always gives us an uptick off the bench. The defense, his containment ability, his ability to be in the passing lanes and take charges and just really impact that side of the ball, which gets us out into transition and playing faster. Definitely a lot of things on the court that he brings to the table, but also the intangibles of his leadership, his voice, working out coverages and, offensive spacing concepts, whatever you want to say. He's just been an invaluable member of our team, and we missed him on this trip.
During the bubble, people talked about how not traveling had a positive effect on guys and bodies and kind of keeping healthy. Some people speculated that the baseball style series might have a similar effect without you guys hopping planes after every game. After that 4-game road trip that you went on and having a couple guys banged up, does that hold water for you? Did you get any feedback from guys that was helpful for them to not have to travel after every game?
I didn't get any direct feedback from our guys. It still felt, I think, to most of our group like we were on the road for 8 days. Even though it was only 2 cities, as opposed to what would have been, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 cities. You're still gone from home, not sleeping in your own bed. But even though it still felt like 8 days, probably was, a little easier, so to speak, than going to 4 or 5 different cities.
All right, guys, there is Frank Vogel. Now, we did just get an injury update on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who, of course, has been out with the left ankle sprain. Allie, he will not play tonight. So he just went through warm-ups a bit ago. Sounds like there must still be a little bit of soreness in that ankle, and they're going to continue to go the conservative route. So no KCP. We would assume that Kyle Kuzma would again start in his place. That will be confirmed in a couple of moments here.
Thanks so much, Mike. We will certainly keep an eye on that. That's where you love the depth. As a Laker fan, of course, okay, no KCP, as you just mentioned. I want to start with you, big game, though, with Anthony Davis. He will play tonight. However, he showed up on the injury report after their final game in Memphis. Any reason for concern? We know he's dealt with some nagging injuries here and there. He is going to play tonight, but...
Yeah, which nagging injury was it this time? He has a few. No, I'm old school. When a player checks it out, and if he puts the uniform on, I'm expecting, what he does best. So, and I think that's the approach that they take too. I don't think they're going to take a chance. In fact, I know they won't take a chance on him playing, unless he's close to 100%. So I'm sure they put him through a variety of tests, different footwork moves or whatever, strength tests to make sure that he's ready and capable. So yeah, I'm not too surprised.
They did have an off day yesterday, which is nice, of course. Alex Caruso, 5 games out. He is expected to play. No minutes restriction. What can you expect out of him? You just mentioned it looked like he kind of beefed up a little bit, maybe?
I was watching him working out, and I'm like, he got some guns now. I'm like, he always had the guns. You know, he had to get, checked by the NBA one time, but went on social media. But, AC Fresh is one of those players you don't worry about because his IQ is there. His ability to come out and perform is there, and he knows what he can do. He doesn't try to be one of these players that, you know what, I haven't got a shot up. I'm going to try to cross the guy up and, get a shot. He takes what's given to him, and that's what you respect, and that's what his teammates respect about him most, that he takes what the game is given to him. So I'm so excited to see him back there with LeBron. I'm sure LeBron is happy to have him back because he's that spark. Mm-hmm. He's one of those sparks that they love, especially when he gets his dunking. AC Fresh,
that
baby.
Swag?
Yes.
That swag that you didn't have? Yeah, I like that.
I didn't need it, baby.
And so when you see the distinction, and we've seen it since video has come into play. We've seen what police do and how they treat, blacks versus whites. And what we saw in the Capitol was so frustrating, and it lets you know that all the things that people have been talking about all these years, it just has come to, it's like a boil, and it has finally burst in America. And it's hard to accept, but it is exactly the way we see it. And you can't hide it anymore. It's been like that for a very long time. And it's unfortunate and disappointing and humiliating, to be honest with you, that we still are experiencing that today.
For me, watching it, and everything is always different. And James, you can relate to this when you grow up in the South. Mm-hmm. When you grow up in the South, you experience a lot of things that people, don't experience because they feel like it's okay. And now you see some of the people that was, they was poor, they were from the South, and it just made me sit there like, yeah, that's the South for you. And it gets to a point where you just sit back and you really want people to see what's going on and understand there is a big difference in skin color. It's nobody had their guns drawn, nobody had batons out, nobody had their shields up, and it's funny how those people were in a threatening position, hands down, forcing, pushing, and they felt like that was okay. I heard one guy was saying, we pushed them first, then they pushed back, but that wasn't okay. We just went ahead and pushed more. And I look at all the protests in the Black Lives Matter movement, hands were up, but yet they get tear gas, they get baton, they get, rubber bullets. For me, where were the rubber bullets? I don't want them to shoot anybody. At first I said I wanted that to happen, make an example of it, because in my mind, being a black man, I would have felt like, oh, that's what's going to happen to me. But in my mind, I'm like, yo, rubber bullet, because I don't want anybody to die. I'm not about violence. I'm about peace, because that's what this world needs. It needs peaceful protest. It needs people being aware and informed and understanding what's going on in America. And seeing that, it made me be ashamed of us actually voting for the freaking president. It made me ashamed that we got this guy in office who incites riots, who talks about racists, who talks bad about women. Just what are you people seeing in this president and allowing him to fool you? That's basically what he's doing. He's pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. And it just makes me feel like everybody who watches him goes back to the old saying that when they used to call a TV the idiot box. People are watching this idiot and believing the words that are coming out of his mouth. It's basically like he's like Jim Jones. He has a cult following, and people are going out and doing what he says and not understanding the ramifications of what's going to happen, and not understanding that there are kids at home watching this. And in 20 years, they're going to feel like, well, they did it back in 2001. Why can't we do it now? So it's just shameful that people attack the Capitol on federal grounds, and the president did nothing but sit back and tweet.
I want to say something really quick before we move on, because though we have all come to understand, and those that matter know that this continues to not be a burden or a responsibility that you guys should have to endure. To the both of you, Karan, to D. Fish, who continue to walk through these walls, who continue to go out there outside of this building and continue to fight for change, to lead that charge. I say it all the time, and I won't stop saying it. Thank you. Because though yesterday, for so many, felt like we have yet to make much progress. In the bottom of my heart, I believe that change can happen. And you guys are the ones that continue to inspire and motivate for a fight that is long overdue, but that I believe will continue to matter and make a difference.
It's starting to happen. You see what happened in Georgia. Young people are starting to see that their vote counts. So that's a start. But it's tough to see the difference smack you right in the face like every other week, seems like.
Thank you both.
Yeah, I just think everybody should just live by the rules. Just, be good to one another, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Sometimes it's just as simple as that.
Much love always. As we turn our attention after Tuesday's game, LeBron James was asked about the More Than a Vote campaign that culminated in a sweeping victory for 2 Senate Democrats in Georgia's runoff election. Here's what he had to say.
We got to continue to stay strong, continue to believe in each other, and continue to push for the greater of change and for the greater of good. And to hear, my people turn out in Georgia in the fashion that they did. I'm definitely going to get some more information on it, but I heard they turned out in Georgia, and that's commendable. It's something that we started with More Than a Vote, and we want to continue to do that and continue to support, actions like this and causes that went on today. And it's been going on, obviously. So proud of my people for getting out there and doing what they do best. So, and that's being heard and being seen and being powerful and being engaged. And that's how it is.
What does the next stage of More Than a Vote look like? You started in the summer. There was the big election in November, the runoff today. Can you take us forward as to what the next steps will be?
One, I can tell you, Dave, is that we're not going to stop, and we're always looking for opportunities to continue to grow, not only in my community but all over the world and all over America. As you've seen, we've been able to do since the summertime, all the way up into today. So we're going to continue to keep our foot on the gas, continue to keep our foot on, keep the pressure on going on how we continue to create change. And like I said, and create change for the Black community, but also just create change for the greater good. And we're looking forward to and seeing what ways we can do and what we can do going forward.
One of the senators defeated in the Georgia runoff was Atlanta Dreams co-owner Kelly Loeffler. In response to her defeat, LeBron tweeted, "Think I'm going to put together an ownership group for the Dream. Who's in? Hashtag Black Votes Matter." In response to LeBron, Dodgers superstar Mookie Betts tweeted, "Count me in." And fellow NBA superstar Carmelo Anthony responded with, "Let's talk, bro." While yesterday was a terrible day for America, there was some good news as voting efforts in Georgia will hopefully bring about some positive change. And Rob, we've talked about it. Big game, you brought it up the other night. The NBA and the WNBA, two of our very